Well, hello everybody, and welcome to this week's Metaworld News. These are the nude headlines indeed. News headlines for the week ending 29th of October of the grand old year 2017. These headlines pertain mostly to social worlds news, social virtual worlds that is. Also a little bit about key things in VR, or more to the point, interfacing technology that are relevant to the future of such worlds. Not the whole VR gamut, but the rest of it. Anyway, you can find me, and I believe you can read this on screen, at twitter.com/Malburns, MALBURNS, or one word. And that is my regular general feed. There is an additional Twitter feed for twitter.com/MetaworldNews. Which goes with this program, so to speak, and has social world specific items in it. And I'll be choosing some of the headlines from both of those feeds, as well as some of the open commentary I've read on Google+. I think it's a fairly short agenda this week, so I'll just get on with it. I'm starting really 5 days ago. roadtovr.com. Kevin Mack is an Oscar-winning visual effects artist and abstract artist who creates digital spaces with fluidly moving textures that are awe-inspiring, etc., etc. Anyway, this is a post at roadtovr.com, using abstract VR art for neural entertainment and brain research. And actually, that's credited to Get By, so I think actually that's an embed of a podcast you can also pick up at voicesofvr.com. Right. Uploadvr, or one word.com. A free report. There's a kind of white paper report here on the rise of AR, VR, MR in enterprise and the workplace. They give a brief summary of the report, but basically they provide a link where you can get a free download or a PDF kind of thing of the white paper itself, and no charge for that. Virtual reality applications for industry, some case studies. This is a post at the reading site medium.com. It was 4 days ago, so you'll probably have to scroll down a little bit to find it, or you can simply press on the link on my stream. Written by somebody called, I shouldn't have said that because I can't pronounce the name. Japanese, I would figure. That's a guess. Anyway, not a name that's familiar to me. But anyway, a roundup of virtual reality applications for industry. Blog.highfidelity.com. High Fidelity is spelled HIGHFIDELITY, or one word. So it's blog.highfidelity.com. A short piece, really. A first look at high fidelity commerce in action from the high fidelity world. Their CEO, Philip Rosedale, was over here in Europe at VR Days, a conference in Amsterdam, where he delivered this talk, and they've actually just done a few highlights. I imagine more of the talk will appear at a later point. But basically, a first look at the way high fidelity are using blockchain and stuff like that to approach commerce. Right. Another post at medium.com, a post by Emily Maxey. And if you ever find yourself at Google headquarters, ask Clay Bova to introduce you to virtual reality. He's their VP of VR, etc. And he puts on your headset and does his thing. Anyway, the post is called Virtual Reality is About to Get Personal. Full stop. Very thoughtful. Yes. So, serious. It's going to go serious, in other words, isn't it? You can read about that at medium.com. Virtual reality pop Pop.com. We've had a few posts at this site before. It's the word virtual reality and then pop as in pop music, but expressed as all one word. So virtualitypop.com. And this is appears to be a series called Designing for Presence in VR. And this is part 1, an introduction. Right. Okay, talking of actual social spaces, a few have normally been in our other stream, but they've ended up in this one for some reason. Blog.sign.space. That's blog dot and then SINE dot and then space as in outer space. So blog.signspace. They had a post literally 2 days ago, I think it was Friday, I guess. Creator review, release notes 0.10.25, whatever. Who cares? The important thing is it is a new viewer release for the Sciencebase platform with many enhancements and things like that. So this isn't the dev kit or the Unity kit that people use for authoring. This is actually the public viewer. So you can find the links and everything else you need at blog.sign.space. Right. Good friends at hypergridbusiness.com, post by Maria Goriloff, no less. About the 27 Open Grids survey. Basically, it's the new survey asking the readers about their home grids and ratings and stuff like that. And I did actually see on Twitter, probably yesterday, a quick post from Maria saying she'd already had 400 submissions to that survey. So no shortage of people wanting to get their votes in, at least. Right. Yesterday, I posted in The Guardian newspaper, well-known UK newspaper here, reporting on research from scientists at Leeds University. And virtual reality headsets could put children's health at risk. Always worth looking at the possible future downsides of these things, but apparently vision and balance, players aged 8 to 12, which was their research bracket, they were finding that after a 20-minute use of VR in a headset, a lot of these kids between 8 and 12 were getting problems with vision and balance. In a way, that's not unexpected. I mean, many people actually will come out of a cinema after watching a movie to 2 hours in the dark, and it takes you a while to adjust to coming out where it might still be daylight, and you're sort of wiping your mind of the emotion of the movie. Yeah, certainly with vision, a harsh transition from daylight to night or dark to light, more appropriately. You do get that sort of blurring of thing. More important, though, I would think, is possibly the problem with balance. In other words, being in a headset has given them an artificial sense of balance, and they're not totally clear how much of an actual risk it is, whether it's a short-term sort of body transition, between two spaces, or whether it actually has more serious implications in terms of affecting their sense of balance longer term. But interesting read at The Guardian there, and it's like we need to be cautious with a lot of these things, however much evangelized we do. Imagine in the days when they invented the motor car, for example, and the petroleum engine. Would anybody have seriously allowed that to go ahead if they could have foreseen the future we have today? Good question. You might well ask. Anyway, moving on. A site O'Reilly.com. That's OREILLY.com. Commenting on the world of virtual reality, augmented reality, mixed reality growing at a seemingly exponential, I never get this word right, exponential rate.
That's it.
Yeah, exactly, but I never get it right first time. Right, how to pick the right authoring tools for VR and AR. That's the title of the article at O'Reilly.com. and they just basically give a roundup of things. Like many of these posts we see online, they immediately sort of look at the Googles and the Facebooks and the Microsoft, and they don't necessarily. The journalists who write these things often miss things that are staring in their face slightly under the radar. But nevertheless, it's a reasonable roundup of the mainstream altering tools that the big companies are bringing out. Right, The Verge. I think it's TheVerge.com, but it always shows up here as The Verge. How virtual reality developers are surviving the hype cycle. This was a post yesterday. Go figure. The enthusiasm for VR, the sort of thing you hear in the hype cycle, for 3 years it's been the buzzword, but it is now beginning to slow off. You can't be flavor of the month for more than 3 years, really, can you? Basically, they're just looking at how people who are really seriously developing virtual reality stuff are actually surviving the hype cycle, which, as far as they're concerned, is falling a bit at the moment. Lots of price drops on the hardware, of course, but to some extent they are calling the hardware manufacturers the developers, but it's obviously more complex than that. So that's it for the main points on my actual Twitter feed. I'm now going to move across to Metaworld's feed. A lot of it is probably the same thing, so no, it's only a couple of extra ones here. Remember this address, hie.ddnss.org. This is the site of the Hypergrid International Expo that will be happening in mid-December, and you can register to speak or volunteer or find out all sorts of information by going to that site. It's been up about 10 days now, but it's slowly getting more information in there, and will continue to do so. And it really start filling up in about a week, I think. Right, HG Safari, or one word, HG and then Safari as in elephants, hgsafari.blogspot.com. This is Thursday Ember's write-up of Wednesday's Safari visit, which visits places on the hypergrid, which the system by which many social virtual worlds interconnect. And they visited a Halloween hunt on the IMA outpost on Metropolis, and they went back for a sort of little closing do at the Avatar Fest, which is now closed after its 6-week run for the year. We did Hyperfidelity a minute ago. Yeah, the only other thing in this feed really is blog.kokuraviewer.org. Now, Kokura is spelled K-O-K-U-A. And it's blog dot and then Kokura Viewer, or one word, so kokuraviewer.org. And this basically announces the release of Kokura 5.0.9, and indeed an extra release, Kokura 5.1.0, which where if you read it you'll realize what the differences are. And they also talk about, oh, I just got a noise in my headphones, right. And they also talk about the path forward, basically, for Kokura. And remember that Nikki Perrion, who actually wrote this post, is actually sort of getting on a bit and wants to kind of retire from the responsibility for all this stuff, although at the moment he's still writing there and the developer team continue. As far as the Kokura team are concerned, nobody has yet taken over or offered to take over the OpenSim strand of that viewer, despite suggestions that may have appeared elsewhere, but I won't go into all that. Right. Also, I'm going to quickly have a look at what's happening over at Google+. Actually, the same post entirely, plus a few additional videos of Halloween events and things like that, but nothing of any great import. So that just leaves us with a look at what the developers might or might not have been doing this week, and for that it's over to my colleague James Atloud.
Yeah, well,
Hey.
yeah, you bet. Hi, Mel. I wasn't able to attend again. There's something about work in the fall season in the Northern Hemisphere that just starts ramping up at this time of the year. But I did review the notes, and it looked like a relatively calm meeting. It didn't look like a huge amount of people, and really some discussions about the language mono, and taking a long time to work on servers, and then if that drifts into the whole concept of the list object that's used in the scripting language as being very, very slow. I've heard so many people very frustrated by how slow that particular function is, and just a little bit of exploration into that. And then at the end, there was a little more discussion about uh, I have to go check my notes again.
Fair enough.
um,
These James is of course referring. I know I was pointing this out
yeah,
now
yeah.
again, but James is referring to the developers of the OpenSim's vanilla core, as it were, and OpenSim is the platform that actually enables the hypergrid and the internet connectivity of all worlds running it. So we always have a little special here, as it were,
It's our
on
special interest.
something.
Yeah,
What's happening with the core
right.
development. Yeah.
Yep. So
So
the
you found your notes.
I did find it, and it was related. It was so similar. So it was just investigating if all of the Second Life script commands have been implemented in Open Simulator, and so there was a little bit of discussion about that. And it doesn't look like everything, but just about everything from the Second Life code is scripted into the Open Simulator code, and that's
Very
it.
good. So, if any of you folks have ever come across this walled garden and had this, the original virtual worlds, to be honest, Second Life, if you're familiar with that, you'll be familiar with OpenSim too,
Yep.
especially as the majority of the script from one place is in the other in probably a modified form. Okay, well, that's it for our news this week. Now, if you're watching us live, you don't need to hang on till the hour for the in-world review this week, because we're not actually going to broadcast that this week. We haven't actually got any guests, and there isn't enough new to actually talk about, although there is actually a lot going on, which I imagine means quite full shows in the coming weeks. So we won't be doing that this week. But as for this program, well, we of course will be back same time, same place next week, because news, even if there's not much of it, never actually stops. There is always something to be said, even if it's just relaying what's already been said. Oh, I am so witty. Right. Okay, so it's goodbye from me, James, for this week, and we will be back next week. Have a good week, everybody.